And hello, welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren, Jaime. Today, we'll update you on what's happening in our borough in New York City. Coming up, we'll explore a unique social media initiative that's redefining storytelling in our borough by capturing its essence through the lenses of everyday people. After that, we'll discuss the story of an artist whose journey began in the Bronx and evolved through a unique blend of influences. Then, we'll talk about an organization that's dedicated to educating and engaging young people who are Black, Latino, and Caribbean communities about the crucial importance of donating blood. And then finally, we'll discuss the vital work of one organization dedicated to empowering the survivors of domestic violence. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime. You're now watching Open, a live program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Some things have been going on throughout the past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. And we start off with health news. A massive recall of meat and poultry products due to possible listeria contamination has expanded to include food shipped to schools. The recall, issued on October the 9th, affects ready-to-eat meals sent to the U.S. schools, including the neighborhood charter school in Mott Haven. The CDC warns consuming listeria-contaminated foods could lead to symptoms such as nausea, fever, muscle aches, and fatigue, which may appear quickly or up to 10 weeks later. Now, no illnesses have been reported in connection so far with this recall in our area. In other news, a new state Senate bill has proposed making it a felony to assault food delivery workers responding to a rise in violence against them. A study cited by lawmakers indicates 20% of delivery workers report being assaulted on the job. DoorDash has supported this measure, saying, quote, "No one should worry about their safety while making deliveries." The company also committed to working with law enforcement to enhance worker safety. In education news, Bristol Public Charter Schools organized a vibrant community celebration, attracting hundreds with free music and dance and performances, as well as some various family-friendly activities. Our BronxNet reporter, Chris Kamula, has a story.
Hundreds gather on East 144th Street for Brea Public Charter School's largest community celebration, spanning not one, but two locations. This free event annually transforms the avenue into a festival of fun, food, and music filling the air, getting people in the community out into the streets for a day of give back, kickback, and relaxation.
This is an event for our families are invited, but it's really for the entire community. And it's a way for us to say thank you.
Tables lined up and down the avenue offer a range of family activities, including face painting, arts and crafts stations, bouncy houses, and obstacle courses, entertaining attendees of all ages. Physical education teacher Ulysses Mateo, known by his students as Sensei, is helping out with today's efforts, highlighting Brea's personalized approach to student success.
Brea have a holistic approach on improving the culture and bringing the families together. And I think a great thing to improve the culture is through community events like this.
Dozens of local organizations and businesses participate, providing the community with helpful resources for educational and even financial planning. With a special showcase of talented dance performances by Brea's own students.
So we have everything from financial advisors for our families who might need some financial advice around savings or banking. We also have a table that is a little library where children and families can come and they can take books home. They can pick books that they get to take and have in their homes that they don't have to bring back to the school. We also have face painting, which is always a favorite, bounce houses, and we have local high schools who have come to partner with our high school placement team to make sure that our students and families are aware of the different high school options that exist for them as they leave Bria in 8th grade.
Executive Director Jaime Valle emphasizing that the celebration allows Bria to connect with the community and demonstrate commitment to supporting families beyond the classroom.
It fills my heart in a time where life is so difficult and things are many times so divisive, to get opportunities to be all together.
As this year's setup runs successfully, event organizers are setting their sights on next year, keeping the same energy and mission statement.
One thing that we pride ourselves on a ton is the partnership we have with families, and to be able to get this back going for the second consecutive year and be able to build relationships with our families and our students outside of the school building itself feels really special.
On Willis Avenue, BronxNet Community Television, I'm Chris Kimella.
And thank you, Chris. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, and we'll have more open when we return.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
And welcome back. An Instagram account with over 49,000 followers has become a vital as well as a viral platform for Bronx residents to share their stories one photo at a time. The project has grown into a remarkable archive of daily life, challenging long-standing stereotypes about our borough and then elevating local voices. Joining me now is a documentary photographer and the curator for the Instagram feed, Everyday Bronx, Rhynna M. Santos, and we thank you so much for being with us.
Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Glad to have you. This isn't the first time you've been here, but glad to have you in this platform talking about Everyday Bronx. And when we talk about the Bronx, obviously we know the history, stereotypes, you know, presuppositions, but yet and still you're taking your feed and really educating people, not just educating, but also empowering.
That's absolutely right. I think we started this feed in 2014, so 10 years ago. And, you know, when you used the hashtag Bronx at that time, it was an unbelievably horrible images that would pop up. And so slowly but surely with our feed, we're documenting what is usually overlooked about our borough. We're fighting stereotypes because, you know, when you say Bronx, everybody has an opinion whether they've been here or not. And we're also creating community where people can actually communicate with each other about their borough.
And doing this for 10 years, obviously, the growth is there, right? You're up to 49,000. I know you got a goal in mind, too.
That's absolutely right. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary, and our big push is that we're trying to hit 50K. So we're 500 away. So please, everybody, follow Everyday Bronx.
We're going to do everything we can to make sure she gets to 50K just through this program right here as
That's
well.
right.
But
That's right.
I want to take a moment and say, listen, the work that you do is vital, because I think when people look at our community, sometimes that wrong stereotype, as we talked about in the last question, really comes to mind. But yet and still, there's so much culture, so much history, so many great things happening. How do you go about making sure that this is all captured? And how's the process go for you capturing this here?
Well, what's really wonderful about Everyday Bronx, as opposed to other Everyday Project accounts, is that we specifically only use photos from our followers. So basically, the people that we cover the Bronx because of people around the Bronx are taking photos, and we want to do two things. One, we want to fight this. We internalize these negative stereotypes of the Bronx.
Right.
And so we want to really work and show people the reality, more accurate history and reality every day of the Bronx, and also being able to encourage people to express themselves artistically. And one thing that our account really is about equity and accessibility. If you have a cell phone, you can participate and be reposted on our account.
It's just that simple.
That's right.
Graffiti, huge. Hip hop, huge in our borough. And I know you've got a particular passion tied around that too.
No, absolutely. So last year we did a huge exhibition at the Bronx Documentary Center, and we celebrated the 50 years of hip hop, where we had graffiti artists, we had DJs, we had breakdancers. And so one of the things that we love to do is to document that incredible history that came here in the Bronx through our images, but then also be able to put other things on our feed. So we know that the subway photos, get a lot of likes. Also, the muralists and graffiti artists get a lot of likes, but then we put other things to really create a tapestry of, the type of uniqueness and multiple stories that there are to be told here in the Bronx.
You use that keyword story, and that really is what it's about. It's really about telling a story, the narrative of telling a story in own eyes, and we're looking at a few things right here. Tell me a little bit about what we're seeing.
That's right. That's actually going to be very close to where we're going to do our photo walk. This is by one of our team members, and so basically being able to document. This is some street photography. We do documentary style images, and really wanting to show some of the beauty, some of the art, accessible art, which is right on a street corner. And different murals. So we also document the changing graffiti arts within the Bronx as well.
The power of being able to tell a story from a documentary perspective. Unpack that for me, because you do a great job of allowing these stories to come forward and narratives to evolve.
There's nothing more beautiful than reality. And one of the things that we don't have enough content in the world out today, is just about the everyday life, how people actually really live in the Bronx. And the beautiful thing about that, it could be, a very simple image of a building, and we will have followers communicate and talk on the feed about the memories that they have, especially people that used to live in the Bronx. And so being able to do this level of documentation, it is something we're creating, an online archive that is incredibly important. There are not enough images. We are following, a tradition of incredible photographers that have started here in the Bronx, and we're trying to continue that. And not just us in the team and the people that contribute, but we're trying to also encourage other people, pick up a camera, pick up a phone, and express yourself artistically. And that is incredibly powerful, and point that photo at what is important to you.
You use the words we, team, us, and you're all volunteers.
10 years volunteers, never earned anything, but we really think of this as our community service. We're all the part of our team, we're all photographers, and how can we uplift and empower our community? And we're using our art to trying to do so and encourage other people to also become artists themselves.
Share with me a little bit about women photographers.
Well, I started the Bronx Women's Photo Collective, and it's really wanting to encourage women within the world of photography. The numbers are not as big as we would hope, but we really want to encourage women as well, and women presenting people to be able to feel encouraged and empowered to also document and possibly, if they want, not just hobbyist, but maybe become a professional photographer. And that's important. Our point of view, our Bronx point of view, is important, and we should share it.
For yourself, having those inspirations, who've they been for you coming up in the field of photography, documentaries?
I have been lucky to have been influenced by so many photographers and people to really encourage me in my field. But I have to think of two people. Number one, my father, composer and arranger Ray Santos, who let me photograph him for forever, and also Jamel Shabazz, who is an incredible photographer, and who actually I was able to meet, and he really encouraged me to become a professional photographer.
And it's amazing to think before, back that day, we had the dark room and you had this. Now all you need is really a cell phone.
All you need is this. All you need is a phone, and you can be an artist. And don't let anyone tell you that you have to have a professional camera, because you don't.
But you need this, but you need to do this right.
There are skills. We do workshops, and the cool thing, we're leading up to celebrating our 10th anniversary, is this Saturday we're going to have a photo walk in conjunction with another Bronx organization called Bronx Soul. And we will be actually meeting, hopefully, our followers, going around photographing historical sites and also murals, and being able to give classes on how do you improve your photography.
With 49,000 followers out there right now, as we said, the goal for her really in short order is to really for Everyday Bronx to get to 50,000, and we know that's going to happen in a short order. When people look at what, at these photos and the opportunity to see the Bronx, what are you hoping that they ultimately take away?
The first thing that I want people to take away is having a particular feeling, to see themselves in that image, even if they're not featured in that image, but to see themselves. What we have here, trying to create this archive of photos, are to have all of the multitude of stories that are being told. I want people to see the Bronx accurately and holistically. And lastly, I would love for people to see this collection of photos and feel encouraged to actually take photos and document themselves and their families.
Well, certainly, for people who want to find out about Everyday Bronx, tell them how.
So you can go on Instagram at Everyday Bronx, and please give us a follow. And then, please, a follow. And then also, if you want to look at the work, you can go to everydayprojects.org.
Excited about your work, huh?
Thank you so much.
Yes, and so I want you to continue. She's looking for 50,000. We know that that's going to happen. And then some. The work continues. And Rhynna, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All righty, listen, now if you want more information, again, follow. That's what you got to do when you're on Instagram. You have to follow at Everyday Bronx, and we encourage you, don't go anywhere, because we'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
Hey, creative family, my name is Timothy Coleman, and I'm the Director of Education here at BronxNet. And I'm standing in BronxNet's Media and Technology Studios in the South Bronx, because I want to let you know about an amazing program that we're bringing back that highlights the creativity of community members just like you. Emerging Media Makers is a show that introduces you to BronxNet's certified producers. They've taken a step in their creative journey by enrolling in BronxNet's media training classes. On this show, you'll get to see the many ways that our certified producers have created a space that's all their own. Emerging Media Makers, your passion lives here.
And welcome back. Our guest grew up in the vibrant Bronx, surrounded by a rich culture of graffiti and art that sparked a lifelong journey in fine arts. His passion for creativity has not only shaped his artistic expression, but it's also led him to share his skills and inspire the next generation. Joining us now is art instructor and muralist Akeem Weston, and thank you so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, you've parlayed this into a business, and you're doing a lot of great things, and it's all with the name of graffiti and art.
Somewhat is a mix between just enjoying art and seeing how it affects the kids I work with.
Mm-hmm. We were talking in the last segment with our last guest, and they said how really, Rhynna said, in the Bronx, a lot of people pay attention to graffiti.
Yeah.
It's huge, and yet and still it's an artistic form.
Mm-hmm.
For you, unpack that for us. What does that look like?
I would say for me, it's like I grew up seeing it as possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
It was people that had an opportunity to capture your attention in milliseconds. So it was like I was here, I mattered, I said something, and then as a kid, I just loved that concept.
Right.
It's like something I was like fascinated by. Sitting on the train, watching it from riding the 4 train. It was just like, cool. My mom would never let me go out and do
Right.
it, but she was like, she understood where it came from.
And so you took that and then also was able to transition that into fine art.
Yeah, so I was always kind of good at drawing for the most part. I could see something on TV or like understand things and break it down in a way I can view it in my brain. So it was like they encouraged me to just keep pursuing that, working on that, and shaping that into what I do now.
So for yourself, that influence, right, of arts, school, extracurricular activities, can you give a little bit of how much that really meant to where you are today?
I would say I'm a product of like after-school programs, teen programs. I grew up in Townsend, Walton area, so we had a program called New Settlement Apartments. We had a thing called Evening Teen. So it encouraged us to like take art, take poetry. First time we ever been to a Broadway play was through these programs. And it was like, when I got in that field, I took the skill set that I learned from doing art and just gave it to the next generation.
And now, that's what I'm saying, you've taken everything that we talked about, and now you're saying, listen, I'm paying it forward for the next generation, want them to have those same experiences. Talk a little bit about what you do now.
Right now, I am a muralist for various schools throughout the DOE. I work with a company called Start Lighthouse. We redo libraries. We create art that shows us and our stories. It was just going around and showing kids the possibilities of it all.
And we're taking a look at some of the things that we're seeing right here. And so walk us through what we're seeing.
This is a library that we redid recently over the summer. So this is Lava in My Veins. These are like stories that look like us, sound like us, and it was just the transformation. So this was like a ode to a comic panel. This was at another school within District 7, SVA. We redid their whole library over, me and a group of friends I grew up with. Much love to you guys. And we just kept pushing it forward. So as you look at the art, you see yourself. So we did this with my students back in PS31. A lot of them are now in high school. So this was like different artists we introduced from different places. We got people to pay attention from like the artists reaching out, trying to contact us. This was like maybe post pandemic, and this was in PS5. The students helped recreate this whole auditorium mural. So we break it down step by step and build these items out.
Right.
So they get to see the magic behind what we make.
For the student themselves to participate in it, and then also to see the final product. Give me the.
I would say it's like it feels impossible in the beginning because they're like enamored by the colors and everything else. But as they go through the process, there's a sense of ownership. It's like, this is now my space. I'm not just in a school. I helped create this. I helped build this. So they're protective of it. They're like prideful of it. And I love that from them. It's like as an artist, when you can complete a piece and that vision goes from the sketch to the final product, it's like undeniable.
Right. So you got a business, Creative Plane?
Yes, Creative Plane. This came out of the pandemic. I was given an opportunity to do a mural in the school. And then it was like, you should be doing this majorly. And I was like, okay. So I thought about what does art mean to me, and I was like, art is not just the destination, but it's the process of going through it. So it's like the journey. So creative playing.
Do you think the kids who participate and have the opportunity to hang out with you get a sense of, hey, this is something I could possibly do for a career?
I feel like they do, for the most part. I'm not like the typical art teacher. I don't look like the typical art teacher. So people surprisingly hear that I teach art, because I'm like, well, I'm over 6 feet tall. I feel like an athlete. I look like an athlete, but it's like, they see me and they're
Got
like,
the Yankee
this,
cap on,
exactly,
like representing,
I gotta
right?
represent. So they're like, they see me and they're like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I like this. This is dope. So we can. Is it possible to do this? I feel like they're like, I see you every day, and I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So it just encourages them, and just show the connection between art and like the everything you interact with, from the chair you sit down to the table you're at. Somebody drew it. Somebody put it together.
And as we see these students here, and you're watching, we're looking at some of the students take part in this, and it's so freeing, but yet still it comes with its own set of challenges.
Yeah, because they get to see the amount of work that goes into creating art. Like, for the most part, I feel like sometimes we are surrounded by it, but we don't realize the time that goes into building out a piece of artwork, or the planning, or the execution, and just even the business aspect of budgeting and figuring out materials and what works, and trial and error through the whole process. So they get to live that. And then they get to have that moment once it's like, look what we made, look what we created.
And I'll ask my producer to throw me up a couple pictures, because I do want to go back and ask a question about time frame. Because when I see the work that's done, it's beautiful, right? But then the question is, how long does it take to get from concept to creation?
It depends. Sometimes you catch a mode.
Okay, like that one there.
This one was created in like a week. So it was like, we spoke with the young ladies. There's a program called GEMS. If you look inside, hidden in it is the word GEMS inside of it. So we spoke to them, what they mean, what kind of icons, heroes. So we pull from different races, colors, and just put it all together. Even like just sayings from like Slay, Yes Queen, all those kind of funny things that the students gave us. It was like, how can we incorporate it into this piece of art? So I think this has been up within PS5 for like the last 4 years.
Amazing, amazing. And then this one here, light up word?
This is another piece that's found in PS5. So it's just inspiration as you walk through the halls, and then like, you know, the everyday just going back and forth, because people don't realize school is a lot. Like our kids bring a lot of stuff into those buildings. So it's always great to see things that keep you motivated or keep you focused.
Right. So as an art teacher, do you take the time to, you know, share art as the expression? How much do you really let them know also about art as a business?
I let them know often about it, because it's like they'll ask me like, how you make a lot of money doing this? And I'm like, without getting in specific details, I'm like, you can make a great living. You can, and you feel a sense of pride when you teach people, and you can see the progress of your students, or you encourage that kid who's into anime or comic books, or the one that's very quiet, that's always sketching in the back, and you see them open up and get to be that person they always want to be in front of their peers. And then like the people that who don't even consider themselves to be artists get an opportunity to do it, and they're like, yeah, I made that. So like even like my little basketball players, it's like they get an opportunity to understand like your team colors, artists thought of the combination so it can make sense for you. And they're like, even so, like all those things matter in this grand scheme of it all.
For you, saying, you know, listen, I'm a business owner now, I'm doing all these things, there's got to be a next. What's next?
We're working on transitioning it into a nonprofit portion. Right now, I'm just a vendor. So as we go, I work around with different schools. We redo, refurbish, and change beautification projects throughout neighborhoods. I want to expand it, eventually reach other boroughs, states, and just become bigger, put other artists on, and just let it keep building till it becomes something that we all be proud of.
Right. So do you have that one big goal that you say, I want to do this?
I eventually would like to do like a whole side of a building. Like I want to have a piece of permanent artwork that the world can see, and we could just be in awe of. I grew up seeing those kind of things. I had a mentor who has traveled and did artwork in all over the place, and she was like a big influence for me, Juana. And it was just like, I want to be able to do what she did for me for others.
Akeem, it's been great meeting you, man.
It's a pleasure.
And keep up the great work.
I appreciate you.
Keep inspiring.
I'm trying.
And you know you're not trying, you're doing it.
I appreciate it. Sir.
All right, now. Now, listen, if you want more information, follow them on Instagram at Creative Plane NYC. Encourage you, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. "55% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. "34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit BronxNet.org to learn more.
And we are back. Founded in the year 2009, Music Brings Life has utilized music and entertainment to inspire potential donors, as well as raise awareness for the need for a diverse blood supply, particularly for those affected by sickle cell disease. Here now to share more, we've got the president and CEO of Music Brings Life, Keenan. Special Bristol joins us. Good to have you, brother.
Good to have you, brother. Thank you,
man, thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So here we are.
Here we are.
Music brings life.
Music brings life.
How do you make the correlation?
So I'm an artist.
Yes.
And in 2009, my mom had a major surgery, and she was in need of blood. The hospitals informed us that they didn't have the blood, the genetic matching that she needed, right? And it's because it's a lack of blood donation from people of your ethnicities,
right?
Blacks, Latino, and Caribbean. So this was absolutely new to us. We've never heard anything like this at all. And so what we had to do, we had to go out into the hood and get people to donate blood to save my mom's life. So this experience also brought me to the awareness that how many people have lost their loved one because of lack of blood donation. So I came up with an idea on how we can increase blood donation. I'm an artist, and we can use music and entertainment to increase blood donations within these ethnicities, and we called it Music Brings Life.
And here it is, out of really the pain of your situation and really dealing with your mother, you say, there's a bigger problem here. Right? And then you look and you see that bigger problem. As you're sharing with people about this, what's the reaction that people have when they find out about the fact that, hey, Blacks, Caribbeans, those, really, we need blood?
It was a lack of awareness, fear, lack of trust, and lack of resources being poured in with our communities, right? So for me, in high school, I never had a blood drive. I didn't know that that's actually something that people do, right? And there's so many like that, so we needed the educational resources to be poured in within our communities because it wasn't there, right? And that's what Music Brings Life did. You know, so that experience that I had with my mom was very challenging, but something was born out of it, right? And it was my call to educate our communities about the importance of donating blood. And when we do our blood awareness assemblies and people hear the stories about me almost losing my mom, that inspires students to say, hey, you know what, let me go donate blood for myself and for someone else's mom also.
So you had no experience really in organizing blood drives before.
None at all.
Now, today.
None at all.
Now today, talk about where you are.
We have raised over 5,000 genotypic blood with our Heroes Donate Blood program, where by us being in blood awareness, doing blood awareness assemblies and blood drives in high schools in New York City. So we go to different high schools. I perform. We have other performers come on and participate. People that have sickle cell advocates to educate the students about why they should be donating blood. And we've raised over 5,000 pints of blood.
Yeah. So now the message continues. You're out there you're giving students awareness and then also the opportunity to donate blood. Breaking down the myths and the barriers and the stereotypes, right? And how's that been working for you?
It's been working great. When you have students 16, 17, 18 age and saying, how do I be involved? I want to be involved. I want to donate blood. Let me think about someone's special's mom and someone's mom. That's impact. You know, I had a student that was 16. He just lost his mom not too long ago from cancer. And when he seen our blood awareness assembly and he heard the story with my mom and I together, he came to me at the blood drive and said, Special, you know, I just lost my mom, but I heard your story and I see that you still have your mom here today. And I just want to do something. I want to help, so I want to donate blood. So he heard the story and he got inspired. And I told him, man, your mom would be so proud that you're willing to give something sacred like blood of yourself to give another person's life.
Yeah. So there's a film, Students are Heroes.
Yeah.
And I want you to share a little bit more about the film and what made you decide to have this film, Students are Heroes?
Students are Heroes is a sickle cell warrior story. Is about Jordana. She have sickle cell disease, and she's having another sickle cell crisis. She has dreams on running in the NYC Marathon, but she's been always hearing that she wouldn't be able to do that because of her condition. So she's in need of compatible blood to live because her body has developed antibodies from getting blood transfusions from other ethnicities. So she needs compatible blood, but the hospitals do not have the blood that she needs. So they have to do something unconventional, reach out to students and hope that the students can mobilize and raise the blood that Jordana needs.
And so if people want to get the film, see the film, talk about how to rally around and participate.
Yeah, so you can stream the film at musicbringslife.org. You can stream the film there, and all the proceeds from the film will be used for our Heroes Donate Blood program, which is operating in different high schools, and we're aiming to raise 10,000 pints of genotypic blood in New York City.
Amazing, amazing. And you also celebrate your donor heroes, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a big blood awareness concert for all our student donors, for them giving us
of themselves, right?
of themselves, the blood. So we're going to have a big concert for them, and helping to show them we're thankful for what you guys have done for us,
right,
in supporting us.
You never saw it going this way, right? I mean, when you first,
I did not.
You know, yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not. It just. I think that student, when he came to me at 16, I think he was a messenger. because he told me by him coming and share with me that he got inspired and I want to donate blood. I think he was a messenger from the universe telling us to keep going, because what we're doing is impactful, is inspiring. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing. And different things just opened up. You know what? You guys are going to do a film next, and students are going to be involved in that. It's going to lead to, and then it's going to lead to a blood awareness concert, and you're going to get more students donating blood. So all of these things, in the beginning, I didn't see all of these things.
Right. So when you talk about incorporating music, right, and you're dealing with students, the fact that music is involved, your work, who you are, that's kind of like breaks down the, if you will, the barrier, the stereotypes, to really be able to say, hey, we can do this here. You can do this here. How do you feel that's going, given the fact that we've got some huge barriers, particularly when you talk about health? There's health disparities, and there's a whole lot of barriers in access to health and things of that nature. But to be able to get to a place where I'm getting blood donations from a community that sometimes doesn't always know about it, has hesitancy, but you're able to still get across the finish line in a unique way. If you had to say, what do you feel is a secret in getting these things accomplished? Because it's a hard feat.
The power of storytelling, the power of entertainment.
I feel like that's a theme throughout the show today, the power of storytelling.
Yeah, it's absolutely powerful. You know, when people hear what Jordana needing compatible blood, wow, what's that? What do you mean she has sickle cell disease? And there are many people that has this condition, needs blood transfusions on a monthly basis. So when students hear stories like this, well, I'm 16 and I can go out and I can just do these regular things, but someone else who has sickle cell and they're 16, they have to depend on someone to come to donate blood for them so they can live. And that is encouraging, that is inspiring. And that's making these students that say, you know what, I gotta participate. I wanna participate to help this person free their dreams and live their life.
So what's coming up around the corner? People say, listen, I might be inspired. What can they do?
Man, I would say go stream the film. The film is impactful, it's inspiring, and it's truly moving. Go stream the film at musicbringslife.org. And that is a way how you can support our cause.
Yeah, well, it's been a pleasure, man.
It's been a pleasure, D.
Thank you so much, man. You got to come back, all right?
Indeed, brother.
Definitely.
Indeed.
And thank you for the work that you're doing.
Indeed. Thank you as well.
Yes, sir. Now, listen, if you want more information, visit the website, musicbringslife.org, and then follow them on Facebook at Heroes Donate Blood. Encourage you, don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this. And we are back with October marking Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The Violence Intervention Program has grown from its grassroots beginnings, formed by survivors and activists advocating for culturally specific services. Now they become a beacon of hope for Latina victims, providing them with the resources and support needed to achieve safety and independence. We have joining us now the Director of Specialized Programs at the Violence Intervention Program, Katia Amaya-Salinas, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to continue along a theme that we've been talking about, for a minute, which is really storytelling and the effect of storytelling. And when we talk about domestic violence awareness, I think the storytelling really raises a huge awareness to the public, and then also to those who are, victims and survivors.
Absolutely. At the Violence Intervention Program, we have, in my purview, it's our specialized program. And we have our child and adolescent program, our restorative justice program, we have our sexual violence program, and we also have our economic justice program. So within that, if I choose one of those programs,
right.
The stories, I'll start with our child and adolescent program. The stories that come in by children and youth impacted by trauma are huge. Yeah. It's so important to have spaces where children are able to have their feelings validated and their stories processed. And then we're really fortunate enough to have these culturally specific program because of the population that we serve is the Latinx population in New York City. So having spaces that affirm their culture while expressing their trauma, I think is really impactful.
That safe space, right? I think you can't downplay that.
Absolutely not.
When you think about the fact that there's so many people who are really looking for a safe space, can't find a safe space, but then here you are, your doors are opened and you're actually able to, have this safe space. And it does, it empowers Latina survivors too.
Absolutely. Another program I'll speak about today is our restorative justice program. Mm-hmm. And that is, that came out of our survivors asking for a different approach, different options to the carceral system. A lot of our clients are immigrants, and so they are scared of systems, and they don't call the police. They don't want to get involved with systems, but they definitely wanted to have these conversations with the person that have harmed them. And we had there was no process for it. And so what we created, along with many other organizations throughout the city, is one of the first spaces where it's a survivor-centered approach, but also including the person that have harmed them. A lot of the domestic violence organizations only work with survivors, and our survivors were telling us, I want to have conversations with the person that have harmed me, because a lot of the times they share a child, and the child still wants to have relationships with the parent who had harmed them. And so creating a space in our organization for those conversations to be processed in a safe space is huge.
How effective have you found that to be?
We're in our piloting phase. And so that means that we are launching in about 2 weeks.
Awesome.
So I would love to come back and let you know how
the
doors are open, and how that process is going. It's a little bit intimidating because in the world of domestic violence, we only work with survivors.
Right.
And so really creating a process where we could have both voices is huge.
Yeah. And you have child and adolescent programs as well?
We do. We have a child and adolescent program where we provide culturally affirming services to obviously Latinx families. Our goal in that specific program is to strengthen the child and parent bond, because so much of the time we have families who are coming in with all kinds of trauma. A lot of them come in through, even with their immigration journey, right? And some of them need just additional support to have to strengthen the relationship with your children. And so that's what we do. We help provide that space so they can strengthen those bonds.
Supporting children and teens, that's huge, right? And I think that the work that you do really does that. As you look around, children sometimes are forgotten, overlooked, but you make a good job of, or do a great job of really making them inclusive in the work.
Absolutely. I think adolescence is such a hard time in your life already. So then you're including trauma, and you're including either it being witnessing domestic violence at home. And so being able to have somebody that actually looks like you. When I was looking at some of your guests today, having a male, we just hired one of our first male Latino social workers at VIP, and having a Latino male mirror back to a lot of these adolescents who were Latino males, having, they see that there's somebody that's also professional, that, that it's also creating safety for them. So that has been huge, and I think it's also great modeling that for adolescents.
For yourself, it's got to be a great feeling that you're able to provide these, services, and you are the director of specialized programs. But I want to ask this question because, as a person that works behind the scenes, right, you're saying to yourself, I'm glad I could provide these services, but also it's a shame that we have to even provide these services altogether. From your lens with the boots on the ground, are you seeing more and more people come through the doors, especially with the way that, America's going in climate and this, that, and the third, to say, listen, I just need some help?
Absolutely. I mean, so you're adding, they're coming in with, these experience of violence, but then you're also adding additional factors, right? Such as not being able to afford rent, not being able to feed their children, not being able to provide, pay their electricity bills. All like the really important things to survive, in addition to the trauma they're experiencing. But luckily we are able to provide some assistance, some grant assistance to our clients. But it's temporary, right? And so what we really need are policies that help foster sustainability for our communities. Our communities are, come from very high levels of poverty. And so if we're not creating not just programs, but policies that address these really systemic issues, then what are we really doing? Because it's a continuous stream, right?
Right. So as you talk about policy, is there anything in particular that we, the public, should be aware of in terms of policy changes and things that you're, that you're standing in support of, and then maybe that the public can get behind?
I mean, there is, what you always want to make sure is that for us, I'll go into our economic justice program. What we want to create is sustainability, because if you're providing, the person with a skill. You're providing them with a way to make a living for their families. Then they're gonna stay out of these abusive relationships because right. And so what we want are policies that are sustaining people from all different levels. You don't have to go, to professional school. Right. You want to make sure that we are creating policies, living wages. Like we've signed on to living wage. A living wage is not $15 an hour. You know how much milk is in New York, right? A living wage is anything above 25, right? And so what we want to create are policies that are sustaining our communities, are sustaining families.
And so for people who want more information, what do they do? How do they connect?
We could call our domestic violence helpline. Please, and I'll urge you, if you are experiencing domestic violence, if you know somebody that's experienced domestic violence, give them this number, 1-800-664-5880. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. And our website is vipmujeres.org.
Yeah. And it's important to also mention that any call that's made is kept strictly confidential, right?
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure to let people know that too. Katia, it's been great having you.
Thank you so much.
It's great to have you. Yes, as we said, come on back. Got you. All right, listen. Now, for more information, please visit the website vipmujeres.org. We've come to the end of our show today, and of course, we want to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast on Optimus Channel 67, Verizon Files, that's Channel 2133, or watch us anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with my girl, Rhynna Valentine, on Friday. And this wraps up this episode for us. I am Daren Jaime saying make sure you keep this channel wide open. We say take care and God bless.